Hello there my lovely jewelry makers. So I'm super excited about today's video because I am going to share something I've been wanting to do for ages and I've not been able to yet, but with this newest laser that I've got, I am finally able to do so. So it's going to be a laser video, and you might have seen from previous videos I had these little trays in different colours, like rainbow colours, purple, copper and things like that. And I've had an idea for them to basically engrave on them and use them for little jewellery trinket trays around the house for ages, but engraving some cute and kind of motivational words and sayings on them. But I've not yet been able to do so because no lasers I've tried previously have been able to engrave into them. But this newest machine is finally able to, because it's a bit of a beast and it can do more materials. So I'm excited to finally show you that I've actually managed to get them engraved, most of them anyway. So of course we're going to be looking a bit at the process as well with the lasering. I'm going to show you some clips and everything. And I also still can't believe how quick this laser is in general, because I'm used to also previous lasers taking a lot longer. But every time we set it to start lasering in something, it's literally done within a few seconds, and it's so freaking fast. But anyway, so the trays that I've had are these stainless steel trays, and I'm just going to kind of show you some of the trial ones, because we obviously did try previously where it didn't quite work out. Either the lasers weren't able to engrave at all, or they kind of did but not very well and was very hit and miss. So these are kind of the two testers that we previously had, and also I just kept using these to begin with while we're just testing it out to obviously make sure that it was working and doing its thing, because I didn't want to waste more if we didn't have to. So there was a bit of room left, and obviously there's the back as well we could always try. So we did do that. We started with, I don't remember which one exactly, but some of this is from previous lasers, but you can actually tell that all the way down at the bottom here and a bit to the side is from this newest laser, and it looks so freaking good. So previous ones we tried were either not really able to do it at all, or not very well. As you can see on this one here, kind of only partially engraved a little bit, and some lasers, like I said, were not able to at all. But with this one, first of all, it could, and also it turned out really lovely. So I'm so happy with how the results turned out as well. So that is the focus of this video, to basically have a little look at these trays and the results we ended up with. Now of course you do have to have a starting point, because you need to know what settings to put in to the software to tell the machine to do, and it's different for every single material. So when we had tried this previous, doing a little test run of it in a previous video, that if you haven't seen that, I will link it down below. We did still have the information we used there, so we had that to start off with. And also you can of course look things up on Google as well to help you along. Just bear in mind, most of that stuff is just a starting guide, so you kind of have an idea where to start, and then you can fine tune and adjust it as you go, kind of trial and error, and also see what your personal preference is, what you like. So we actually also had a really good session. Not a whole lot went wrong, which is quite unusual as well. So it was pretty much got on to doing what we wanted to. It worked out most of the time, and then we could finish up. So it was one of the best lasering sessions we've actually had, where everything kind of just went right, which is fairly rare because there's always so much trial and error, like I said. But this time it was pretty straightforward, surprisingly. Anyway, so talking of some of the trays more individually, so like I said, I have these stainless steel ones that are both rainbow coloured. I have some copper ones which unfortunately didn't work out this time around. I will get further into that. And also there's a silver one, and then I also have some purple ones, that was the back, sorry, where it's still stainless steel, but it's got a different kind of coating than these other ones do. So it's like a purple, I think it's like a powder coating or something. So again, that is different than these, just because it's a different coating. So you can't just take, say, these materials necessarily and they'll work just as well, just the same on this. So everything is going to be slightly different. So you kind of just got to try and hope for the best. If it doesn't work out, you got to try again. So once we've done the initial couple of tests on the little previous error piece that we might as well reuse for that, we were pretty quickly fairly confident that we had the settings we liked. So I think we then went on to the silver one next, just because that's my least favourite, just because I like silver, but I guess it's the most boring out of the ones I have, just because I love the rainbow, I love the purple, I love the copper. I do like the silver, but the other ones are just that little bit more me. but this turned out really nicely, I think. So obviously here you're engraving onto a no-coated stainless steel, so you don't have the rainbow coating or the copper or that purple powdery coating. So you're literally just engraving on the stainless steel itself. So if you're ending up getting a kind of a silver engraving, of course it'll be a little bit more subtle, which is a lovely look if that's what you're going for. So that is how this turned out a little bit. So it's kind of off from the stainless steel itself, so it still stands out nicely, but especially when you're moving it in the light, it kind of just shows more at certain angles where it gets darker, and then at other angles it gets lighter. So I actually think that's really cool, and I'm really pleased with how this one turned out as well. So obviously a little bit more neutral with it just being the silver. And if you can't tell yet what I put for, I think all these heart ones, I put "damn, you look good," because my thought is that if you use them as like jewelry or trinket trays around the house or something, that you put your jewelry on there when you're not wearing it, of course, but then you know exactly where you're always going to keep it. But then when you take it, you read this "damn, you look good" when you're putting on your jewelry. And I just think that's a cute little thing you could then read while you're putting on your jewelry to kind of make yourself feel better. And we can all use as much motivational stuff as we can get all the time, can't we? I know I can. So I just thought that was a cute little thing to put on them, just like emphasizing that positive self-talk. So that was the first one. I'm very pleased with how that turned out. Then we of course had to move on to the rainbow ones. I only had 2 of these because one obviously was a test piece because it went wrong at some point. So I only have 1 of the rainbow ones. In this case, of course, I would like to get more eventually, but this is how that turned out. So it works really well when you have these, especially darker coatings, because what you're doing is revealing or removing that coating with the engraving or lasering, and then that reveals the stainless steel layer underneath, which then stands out. And of course, if say the coating is darker or something like that, there's more of contrast, which is then what makes it stand out more. But again, as you move it in light, you're getting kind of different looks and different effects. So I really like how that turned out. And it's also really nice and easy, I will say from experience with other lasers as well, to actually frame with this one. And what I mean by that is obviously getting the lasering or what you want to put on there to basically sit in the right position, because you can get it to show what you're going to be lasering with some light laser. Not the one that's engraving, but just like one that shows you how it looks. And then you can literally position this how you want it to. And it also has these little bars that you can attach to basically help you keep something straight. First of all, one way, but also another way. So you can more or less guarantee that if you have multiple, say, of the same thing, and you just want to batch engrave stuff, you could add those bars with screws that come with it, and basically in the exact position, and then you frame the laser and you get happy with the positioning, and you can literally get it to laser, take it away, put a new piece in the exact same place because you have those bars, and then just in and out. And especially also with how quick the laser is, you can get through a lot really freaking quickly. So I also got really impressed with that, and we did use those bars. They actually came in really handy. So if you especially want to do something like that, or make sure something is straight either one way or another way, I definitely recommend using those bars as well. And once they're in there, they don't move because they're tightened in with screws, so you don't have to worry about that. But these were the only kind of 2 heart ones, except for the purple powder coating ones, that I really had left. And obviously we did also have the copper one, which I absolutely love this coating. It's so beautiful. I love this color and coating. I really like that. Now this, like I mentioned earlier, didn't quite work out, unfortunately. So this, as the setup we have, wasn't able to engrave into this. And I think I have a theory of why. It's because even though this isn't copper per se, it's stainless steel that has a coating, I'm pretty sure when you get something that's coated, whether it's rose gold or copper, there's copper in it to a certain percentage. I don't know all that technical stuff, but I'm thinking that is why. So even though it's classed as stainless steel, it obviously has a coating. And the way we have this machine right now, it's not able to engrave into copper, as in bare copper or anything like that. But from what I have learned, I'm pretty sure you can actually get a lens for it where you're able to engrave into copper. So don't take my word for it, but I'm pretty sure from my research that you can, and I'm not gonna lie, that is super exciting to me, to be able to engrave into copper, because that is definitely, I would say, notoriously one of the more difficult materials to be able to engrave, and you have to be very specific about your tools and things like that. So, because no laser I've ever had have been able to engrave into copper. But like I said, from my research, I'm pretty sure you can get a lens for this where you actually can. So I'm definitely very interested in that for the future. But anyway, so we kind of found that out, and we obviously left this out then. There was no point in continuing to try with that. So we're just working with what we have. So those were the two hat ones. And of course, I also had some oval, longish oval ones, whatever you want to call them. Now I also have a couple of that, but obviously same principle. So we're just gonna leave that out. But then I had stainless steel, I think they're all rainbow, these ones. Yep, rainbow ones. But each one, that's what I love about this kind of rainbow cutting as well. Each one is different. They all end up looking their own unique way. So I do love that about this coating in general. So let's start from the top. So for these ones here, I think I put the same in all these. Yep. So the first one, these all say, "Hey gorgeous," because I thought that was a nice little thing to put on as well, just like the other, "Damn, you look good, hey gorgeous." Same principle. Purpose is to make you feel good. When you're using them, you take whatever you're storing on there, take it off, read that, makes you feel better about yourself. So that's what we engraved on that, and I thought the sizing and kind of shape of the wording here fit this shape of tray really well, and I'm really pleased with how this turned out too. Again, very much when you move it, you get different angles of light and things like that, and it kind of has different effects. It's kind of quite dark in one way, and then it gets lighter in a different way at a different angle, so I do really like that. And also, just to mention what I wanted to do as well, because I am planning on selling some of these, and I would love to kind of do more and be able to sell them in general on my shop. But what we also did, kind of with that purpose in mind, is I put my logo on the back. I wanted to see if we could just easily do that. And of course, we could just use the same settings because it's the same material. We just had to refocus the laser, which you do at the top with like a wheel, a handle on a wheel, which basically adjusts the height of the laser, so how close you are to what you're engraving into. And the reason for that is when the tray is facing this way to obviously engrave the main part of it, it's kind of got curved edges, so obviously the bottom part here is flat against the surface, but when you flip it, those sides lift up the bottom part, so it's higher up basically. So we had to just adjust the focus to make sure that was correct, so we could use the same settings and get pretty much the same result. So we did that on all of them. I think we kind of did it towards the end of each little batch, so all these we did and kind of just quickly in and out, because with how small this is, which by the way also a kudos to the laser, because I'm really impressed with the detail of this laser is capable of as well. Like if you think of, say, an image, you think of pixels, and obviously the better quality, the less kind of pixels you can see, and it's more crisp and clear. That's the way I like to think of it, because that makes more sense in my head. So if you think of it that way with the laser, sometimes you can see kind of a little bit jaggedy edges. If you think of pixels, that it's lesser quality, whereas this, it is so crisp and clear. I see no jagged edges, I see no lesser quality pixels or anything, if you can put it that way, especially with that small engraving of my logo on the back. I was a bit worried about making it too small because I was worried how well it was going to come across, but it is so crisp and clear, and I'm so impressed with that. So there's no worries with that at all. Could have made it even smaller if I wanted to, but obviously don't want to make it too small. You still want to be able to read it. Anyway, what was I saying? Back to the trays. That was the first one. And then we made this one here, which, as you can see, same coating, same listing when you buy them and that, but each one is different, and I love that about them. So personal favorite of these two would obviously be, for me, the more purpley one, but I still really love that one as well. So this is definitely far more purple, got some blue and some pink, of course, mainly. Same thing, if I just hold up again, you can then also see how crisp and clear that is. So imagine you have some jewellery laying on top of that, or if you use it for something else, of course, you remove it, put it on, and then, hey gorgeous, and it just makes you feel better. I just really like that idea. And of course, we have the logo on the back as well for this one, which again, what I was talking about before, those bars to help align, it worked so well when we went back and was just doing the logos. You line up those bars, screw them in, and then of course the first one, you lay it in basically where it won't go any further against those bars, so it's all nice and straight. And then you make sure to frame it properly with the laser, position it exactly where you want to, and when you're happy, get it to laser, which literally took a couple of seconds, and then take it out, place it the next one in the exact same position, get it to laser, a couple of seconds, take it out, place in the next one, a couple of seconds, and it literally was so fast as well. I'm so impressed with that. I'm kind of surprised how quick it was. But we have a couple more of these elongated rainbow ones. This one I think is my overall favorite, if I'm honest, and I do think I have to keep one or two of these for myself, like I said. But I really love how this looks, and you can just see, obviously engraving with the laser, you're revealing the coating and getting the stainless steel underneath to show, and it just looks so lovely and beautiful. And the last one of these specific ones, this one is the darkest one, also very lovely, very purpley blue, a bit of greenish in there. I love that one too. So those were the elongated kind of oval ones of the rainbow coating, of course. Now while we're doing these trays, I wanted to also try these purple, I think powder coated ones, because I kind of purely saw them by coincidence when I was shopping around for the other ones. They came up as recommended, and I was like, I like them, obviously, purple, but I wasn't sure how it's going to go because, first of all, the trays themselves are a lot thinner, because if you look at these other ones, they're actually really thick as well, and this is also something that affects the settings of your lasering. Even though, say, something's the same material, if one is thicker and one is thinner, that could change the result a little bit. So it's all very trial and error. So these are thinner, and then obviously they have that, what I think is like a powder coating, and so I wasn't sure how it's going to go. So we kind of thought we'll start out with the same settings as these here, just to see what happens, and obviously we'll go from there if we need to change anything. So I'm pretty sure we actually ended up using almost the same settings for these because it happened to work out. So again, it kind of just all went really well, which is a bit unusual for lasering. Like I said, there's a lot of trial and error and there's so many variables, but this session just kind of went so smoothly and it was a lovely experience. But anyway, what I ended up with were 3 of these, because I had 3, and once we did one and it worked out, I was like, well, we have to do all of them, and then some of them I can put for sale as well. Obviously keep one for myself because purple, you know, why not? And of course, in doing that, we also put my logo on the back of those, so they all have that too, and I'm pretty happy with the whole placement of everything. So the framing and all that with the laser, I think that went really well. Like I said, I also, most lasers in the past can be quite difficult for that with how they work, but for this laser, which I had seen that you could get some lasers that do, but I'd never actually tried it before starting to laser anything. So when you're framing it, you can get it to show you the actual engraving of what you're gonna be lasering, or the outline of it onto the surface. So basically you can place what you're engraving onto according to that before you start to laser, and that is so much more helpful, I find, than previous ways of framing a laser. So I really like that. I prefer that much to previous methods that I've tried. So another yay. So of course there's those 3 hats we have, and then I also have some oval elongated ones for this purple powder coating. The only difference being these are not coated on the back for some reason, whereas the hats are, but obviously it doesn't matter anyway. Here we just also engraved my logo on the back, and again nice and small so it's not too obnoxious, but of course it's the back so it doesn't really matter, but that worked out as well. And I really like how these turned out. For these ones, like the hat ones, sorry, I also put "damn, you look good" because I just really liked that saying, and the shape and size of it worked really well for that shaped tray I found. And for the previous elongated stainless steel ones, it's that Hey Gorgeous. For these ones, I want to do something a bit different, and I kind of quite like that "You Go Girl" kind of saying as well. I kind of say that quite a bit sometimes myself. So I just like the idea of putting that on one as well. So I have 2 of these, and they both turned out quite well, I think. I'm very pleased with them. So again, they're going to probably go in my shop as well, at least one of them, depending if I keep one. So yeah, that was pretty much what we did with this session of the laser. And I'll be honest, I just keep getting impressed by that laser because, first of all, as it is, it can engrave onto more materials than I've been able to previously, which I love and I've been wanting to do for so long. And also just these trays here, even though the stainless steel, which is the usual thing you can engrave onto with most lasers, for some reason no previous laser have been able to do these, but this machine can. So I'm super excited by that. And also it's just a freaking beast. So first of all, in size, of course, which unfortunately we don't have a permanent place for it to just be all the time, so we do have to take it out and in when we're done with it. So we kind of have to do laser sessions, but we do have a place to store it that's somewhat convenient, just not where we can use it as it is. We have to bring it out, like I said, and we kind of open up a separate little table, but it's fine. You then plan for it, of course, and you kind of make sure you have a little lasering session, maybe over a couple of days. So this was the first session where we actually ended up with finished pieces that I'm even happy to sell as well and keep a few for myself. Just because, first of all, how easy and smooth everything went, but also the results kind of speak for themselves, I think. And this is something I would love to keep doing. And if you have any ideas, by the way, for words or sayings to put on trays like this, with maybe that same idea in mind, something motivational, something kind of, well, I was going to say "You Go Girl," that is one of them, but motivational, kind of optimistic thing to help spread positivity, that kind of thing. Then please do let me know in the comments, because I would love to take recommendations of things to put on trays like this, or other things, of course, because that is one of the things I love the most about this whole lasering is, one, obviously personalization, but doing things like this, you can literally put whatever you want on, in this case the trays, but also other things like jewellery or whatever you can think of, but that you want to. It's not limited in any way. You can literally just decide for yourself. So please do let me know if you have any recommendations. And of course, I'll also make sure, in case it's of interest or useful to you, you will have probably seen throughout the video, the settings that we use for the different ones. I will put the information somewhere on the video probably, and probably also the description box, just in case it might be helpful. Again, don't take that as gospel kind of thing, because I do find that every machine can be a bit different, and obviously all materials will be different, but it could just be a good guideline. So I will put that information as well. Otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed this video and you like the results we ended up with. I certainly do. I'm very pleased with all of them, and I can't wait to kind of place some of them around the house, maybe to have jewellery in, a little jewellery storage tray or just a trinket tray. I know we can definitely use that in a few places. And of course there will be links in the description box down below for this laser as well if you're interested yourself. And just to give you a little teaser for a future video, because this is a series of videos that I will be doing on my channel, currently I'm doing, with this laser specifically. So today was about all these trays, and obviously there was the introduction video recently, and we're going to be looking at some rings and bracelets in the future. And these are aluminium ones, so again, the laser being able to engrave into more than just stainless steel is what I've been waiting for so long. So that's what all these are. And of course right now they're straight, so some of these just need to get shaped, but I have other plans as well. So don't think I'm just going to straighten all these and turn them into bracelets as they are. I will do that with some of them, but I have other ideas, so maybe incorporating some other jewelry techniques. So you'll have to wait and see for that video that will be coming up at some point in the near future. So make sure you subscribe if you want to check that out so you don't miss it or any other videos that I post. Otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one. And then take it out.